All right, and we are live. Good afternoon. Hi, Ian. How are you?
Erica, I'm great. It's so nice to see you.
Excellent, excellent. Well, everybody who's joining us online, thank you so much for being here with us. If you're in the 13 parish region, you know that today is Give NOLA Day. So we are supporting community causes, and Noki is out here with our campaign, and we're just excited to be here and having this discussion with you. Um, Ian, thank you so much for joining us. We have a few other great speakers today, and I'm going to add them in right now. We have Mark Romick from New Orleans and Company. Hi, Mark, how are you?
Fine. How you doing today?
Doing well. Thank you so much for being here with us. We have T. Martin from Commander's Palace and also our chair. How are you, T?
I'm good. I found a little tab, so I'm happy today.
Good, good. We have our culinary ambassador of New Orleans and owner of Next Food, Chef Gary Netter. How are you?
I'm great. I'm great. Hey, T, where you get a tab from?
Zara's got a little stash of them. I'm just saying.
We also have another proprietor, Leah Valtrot from Coffee Science NOLA. Leah, how are you today?
Great. Thank you so much for having me here today.
Awesome. And Lauren Darnell, she is the executive director of Minnow Foundation. Lauren, how are you?
Doing well, thank you.
Good, good. And I see you back there, Rami. Rami, our director of community relations, is also here. She'll be backstage with us, helping out with everything. How are you, Rami?
Doing great. So excited, y'all. And if anyone has any questions, feel free to drop them on the Facebook Live.
Awesome. So we are going to play a really brief video from our friends and partners at New Orleans and Company. I think it speaks a lot to this conversation, and then I'll let you guys get started.
We missed you. With all y'all in your homes, with your loved ones, we miss doing what we do best, taking care of friends, old and new. Can I get you something to drink? Imagine your first steps back. You want to hit the town, but before you go, let's find you the perfect room. But don't take long. We have places to go, things to eat. How about dinner under the chandeliers? We can enjoy po' boys and beer on the bayou. No, that's not quite right. You want action. Mardi Gras Indians and second lines, albino alligators and Caribbean flamingos. What do you miss most? Oh, yeah.
Well, that was wonderful. The incomparable Wendell Pierce there. My God, he can. That man invites you to anything you want to go, but when he's inviting you to New Orleans, I feel like a lot of people are already primed for that. My name's Ian McNulty. I cover food and restaurants for the New Orleans Advocate, Times-Picayune, and for the last year and a quarter now, we've been covering the pandemic, the crisis, and right now we're starting to cover the recovery. It feels like New Orleans is coming back. You can see it in the streets every day. You see it in the restaurants, certainly. But these are not normal times. I tell everybody all the time, this is a business of people, of culture, of relationships, and you can't just switch it on and off like you can an app or something, right? So this business had to shut down, had to make big sacrifices for the public health, and now it's slowly coming back up. And what we're going to talk about today with some experts in each area of this is where things stand now and where they want to see them go. So thanks everybody for being here. You all bring such important perspectives to this. And I'm just gonna, I want each of us here, we're all friends, I want each of us here to feel free to weigh in on any of these topics that come up or pass the mic. So let's start with this one, right? We know that hard times can sometimes bring unforeseen value, that when you're in the fight, you're just trying to get through it. But then when you look back at it, you think, well, we learned some stuff there, maybe this is the way that we can do this better in the future. I'd like to hear if there are specific things in your business or your perspective on hospitality even that you want to take with you? You want that to be a lesson learned that you're taking into this next phase that we're in. Who wants to start on that one? Perhaps T has something to say.
Oh, I think make the youngsters go first. Come on.
Okay, good deal. Gary, you've had to do a lot of creative things through the past year. What do you see that you saw in the hospitality industry that you thought was a positive through this, that you want to carry forward with you in your business?
Yeah, a lot of it has to do with a lot of with the seeding of with this COVID at the transition into a lot of grab and go, and um, which I didn't come from a grab and go concept. I actually I come from the Commanders and Palace Cafe and things places like that, and I wasn't tuned into grab and go concept, but just with this over a year, it's been grab and go, curbside pickup. So adapting and pivoting to something like that was it wasn't hard, but it's not the food that you really want to put out, but as us transitioning into that, it kind of it can almost say that this will be a trend for a while now. And I'm seeing that a lot of people, by me working with the Chef's Brigade, also I see a lot of the Chef's Brigade restaurants that we have on board has changed, has pivoted into a lot of the grab and go packaged foods, whatnot. So right now I know we're changing and trying to get back into a normal routine, but I think the grab and go and curbside and delivery piece will be here for a while. Actually, it gave new life to some restaurants. Some people that are out there now and saying, "Hey, why didn't we do it?" I hear some restaurants say we should have did this, sooner.
Right. A lot of different ways we needed different ways to access our restaurants, our food providers, and we've had to find them in a hurry. And I think you're right, Gary. I think a lot of those lessons will continue forward. Maybe some habits that people formed, some tastes, some new ideas, and some new personalities and providers who were introduced in this because they were able to step up and make that transition. Leah, you're the co-owner of Coffee Science, which, if anybody doesn't know, as soon as you get off this call, run down Broad Street and get yourself one of their fantastic coffee drinks. But this is a business that has changed as dramatically as any that I've seen. It went from being a coffee shop where people came in and spent some time together, popped up the laptop, had meetings, to being a real purveyor, not just of your own flavors, but of a whole network of other providers, local producers, farmers, makers, hosting markets, really pop-up farmers markets in a coffee shop. You had to pivot hard and pivot fast. Do you think some of that will continue on with Coffee Science in this next phase? Is that something you want to bring forward?
Absolutely. And the silver lining for the pandemic, I think what it really showed is that by tapping into what the community needs and providing that, we were able to create generative growth across the community. And by partnering with all of these small businesses, we were able to take our platform, which isn't huge, but to highlight and expose all these small businesses to our community. And for myself, I worked in film, and so it was really difficult for me to get to a farmer's market on Saturday mornings. And I also felt like I wasn't really tapped into the food scene. I could go to an incredible restaurant and experience the New Orleans food scene. I didn't feel as a member of the community that was something that I could access as easily. And I think, the community that the farmers market, which is all of us, all the vendors, has built, is really amazing to see how many people come out from the community and how many people are so excited to see the person that is making their bread or the person that's growing their microgreens. And so for all of the hardship of the pandemic, totally, I can't see a way forward that doesn't include some format of the farmers market. We're hoping to open back up in July, and when we do that, we want to maintain a local grocery system or our offering, so that when you're there getting your coffee, if you are a tourist and you happen to stop by, you might see that you can pick up cookies from Brown Sugar Boulangerie, or you can pick up some terrine from Gourmand to throw in your bag and take home, so that New Orleans goes with you in a culinary sense after your trip. And that feels really exciting for me, because food is the great connector, right? That's usually what I take home when I travel somewhere. I find myself at a local butcher shop or a cheese shop. That's what I want to take back as a, what's it called when you bring something back? I'm blanking on the word, but yeah, so that's I think the silver lining of it all.
Well, the bottom fell out for a lot of different business models, but the Coffee Science was one that was able to very quickly build a new foundation, and it wasn't just by yourself. Was there an element of mutual support in this with different people around the community?
Oh, 100%. 100%. I mean, Tom, my business partner, really quickly in the first days of the pandemic, people were expressing that they couldn't get milk, they couldn't get bread, they couldn't get basic groceries. So Tom taught himself to bake in a matter of, I don't know, a week, and started churning out bread for the people who needed bread for their kids, because everybody was all of a sudden was at home, and like a 5-year-old eats peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. So you're not introducing a new food to them, even if it's a pandemic. And then with Covey Rice Farms, I called them up and said, do you want to start bringing boxes over here, and let's get the fresh produce to the community? So that was an amazing partnership. Tim and Jenna at JB Foods, who worked tirelessly with all of the local farms, we worked together to sell all of those goods. We partnered up with St. James Cheese to offer cheese over on that side of town. And then just the countless small vendors, Fish Hawk. They had plans to open a brick and mortar. They wanted a fishmonger. They started selling at the farmers market. So now they're offering lox to the community. And from Flower Moon Bagels, she was at Josephine Estelle. She started her bagel company, Lucy Boone Ice Cream. All these hospitality workers that found themselves without a job and then started their dream businesses really showed up to serve the community. So definitely the partnerships were very important.
Fantastic example there. Can't wait to see where it goes, Leah. Lauren Darnell is the executive director of Minnow. And if you don't know, this is a group that is having a big day today too, because it's Give NOLA Day. That's a really important organization to support, especially today when the giving can go a lot further. And Minnow is a group that works in equity in the hospitality industry. That's a mission that's been going on for quite some time. But during the pandemic, what happened? Did the stakes change for your mission? Did the perspective change? Did the awareness change? What happened with your work during this period that maybe you can keep going forward with? Is there new momentum for it, new perspective? Please take it away.
Yeah, I mean, I think let me just first say hi, Gary. Good to see you again. It's been a minute, but good to see your face. It's an honor, T, to see you again. And Mark, always a pleasure. And Leah, it's nice to meet you. I've heard really great things about you. So this is awesome. Ian, so yeah, I mean, I feel like if you were a human being on this planet, you've been affected. So, I think, for us as an organization, the first thing was kind of like gather your people and check in. How are they doing? We serve Black and brown chefs in this industry. And so I just reached out, and initially I was in shock and a lot of cause of concern, as COVID affected Black and brown people more so than anyone else. And so, we just kept stepping forward and trying to see what can we do? What's our next best step? And I think that, health and wellness is in our radar and awareness for thriving workplaces in New Orleans, and what we want to see for the future is thriving workplaces. And I think that the pandemic made it really real how important health is, and healthcare, and living wage, and all of the things that you don't necessarily, that you take for granted, or that you just aren't so present to until you can't work, or going to work does put your health at risk. And so I think that we paused, we checked on our people, we helped some people fill out some unemployment applications, but we also were able to give out grocery grants because people were hungry and needed food. And so we were able to source and give out grocery grants, very small ones, but it made a difference. So we gathered our people, checked in on everyone, and recognized that we've been here doing this work to support Black and brown people, and that since George Floyd's murder, and everyone was at home watching TV, could see. And so there was just this awakening that happened. And so we were kind of like, yeah, we were here the whole time. But it brought a lot of people to us so that we can continue to be a bridge to walk people into this conversation. And, I'm so proud of my city. I'm so proud of New Orleans. God, we have the best people here, and they've been through some really trying times at every aspect of the industry. And so I'm in awe every day of how people are pivoting to go meals, opening new places. I think there's more opportunity now, because you have people who were invisible before now very visible. So
what's the next step? What's the next step for leveraging that greater awareness, Lauren? Is it through partnerships? Is it through new programs? Is it through what comes next year?
Yeah, I mean, I think another thing that came out was less is more. We're not trying to do everything, we had to put our culinary scholarship program on hold because we weren't sure, students could go back in person. Shout out to Noki. I know that you guys your class is rocking now, which is amazing. And I've met some of the students in your class this year. So yeah, I feel like for us, we wanted to double down on our diversity, equity, inclusion training for restaurants and hospitality organizations who wanted to, roll up their sleeves, eliminate bias, and really do a 2-year journey with us, with our partner beloved community. So we focused on that because we can do that online. We can do that on Zoom. And so that's our equity partnership program. And then, Bees Groceries, that was our second focus, was to, give out grants and to just give out money. Our next step here is to really continue awareness. And I think we're having some questions now where people are don't think that it's a problem or that we have issues. And I think that we do. And it's I'm over explaining that there's an issue with racism. It's a systemic racism in this country. Let's see each other's humanity and how do we help each other grow? I'm about helping each other grow, and we can't do it by ourselves. Black and brown people can't do it by ourselves. Non-Black and brown people can't do it by ourselves. We have to work together, and we have to share and listen to each other. I could go on, but I'll leave it there.
Well said. Well, this brings up another question that I'm curious about your all's perspective on. This is a hospitality town, right? I tell people all the time, New Orleans is a hospitality town in the way that LA is a film town, movie town, the way that, Wall Street's in New York. We're a hospitality town. We entertain people, we host people, we hopefully enrich their lives with their experiences here. It's a big part of the economy and the culture where they come together. And I'm curious, as the hospitality industry comes out of this harrowing experience, if there are areas that you see specifically New Orleans becoming a leader. Is there something that New Orleans can do to lead the way in modern hospitality? Does anyone want to cut in on that? Yes, Leah, please.
Much to what Lauren has been saying, which I really I'm so happy to hear everything, and I definitely want to talk to you after this about your equity programs. I think in order for New Orleans to be a leader in hospitality, we have to start looking at how we pay our hospitality workers and that everybody's making a living wage and everybody's getting health care. Astonishing to me that the pay structure in most New Orleans restaurants. And I think when you look at 2019 and there was 10 billion in tourism dollars in our city, what would that look like if there was a 3% surcharge on all of that money and everybody had health care in our city? Like, how different would the landscape of the pandemic looked? And what if everybody had actually been being paid a living wage? Like, I don't think there would have been so much fear. And I don't think that we can be a hospitality town if we aren't really looking to the people who drive the hospitality industry, which is everybody who works in it. And so I'm with Lauren with, like, we have to help each other. And I think if we're going to be a modern leader, that's where we start, is an equitable workplace.
Gary, what about you? What do you want people to know about your city and its hospitality culture? You know, what do you, as a culinary ambassador yourself, you know, what's the one thing you want people to think of when they think of modern New Orleans hospitality, right? What we're trying to get to.
Yeah, the modern hospitality business, like I said, I come from Commander Palace and Palace Cafe and Emeralds and, you know, GW Fins. I've worked with a lot of great chefs, great owners. I've worked with the Dick Brennans and Ella Brennans. You know, they instilled a lot in me. So it's a lot of the modern way of going. Where we are right now, what I see is it's a lot of health and wellness that should be taking place, and not just you know, the food that we put on a plate. And you know, it should have a lot of it should take the modern path of hospitality. It should also be taught in culinary schools too, for as health and wellness, nutrition, and I know they teach some of that in culinary schools and whatnot. I feel like it should be spread throughout health and wellness, because New Orleans has a good and a bad name for their food. You know,
Sure.
pork fat and the fried fish and the gumbo. You know, we have good food, but we also have people just, you know, they can't eat. They say they can't eat that every day. You know, so in the modern world, you know, I feel that we could change and still keep the flavor and the culture of New Orleans, but, you know, modernize it into, you know, get a look at it as more on a health and wellness side of it.
Gary, you and I have talked about this before, and I think it's an interesting point, is that there's a great diversity of ideas of what New Orleans food and hospitality is from within New Orleans, that different people are going to express that in different ways from their own lifestyle, their own diet, their own interests. And when that comes out of New Orleans people, that's a very authentic representation of New Orleans culture and hospitality from different lenses, right? And some of the work that you've done as a culinary ambassador to bring other people up from New Orleans, to open doors for them and build bridges for them maybe they didn't see before, can show people what more of those lenses of New Orleans hospitality and culture look like, and that it can be tailored to, like you say, with wellness and lifestyle choices and also different backgrounds. So there's a lot. I feel like there's a lot of potential there. I think things that people will be hearing more about from Gary Netter too at Circle Food Market and other venues that you're in charge of. Mark, areas where New Orleans can lead in modern hospitality. What do you see there? I mean, this is a point where a lot of people are coming back out again. People are re-engaging with hospitality, with tourism, with getting back to New Orleans, doing what we do. There's classic elements, but are there innovative elements that people should know about too?
I think there's something that we really haven't talked that much about. And Leah, I'm glad you brought up your point about the structure of when someone comes into the business. You want them to think that this is something that they can make a life out of and really grow through the process. And Tomorrow, we actually have a job fair that's occurring at the Memorial Convention Center in Hull, in the Great Hall. And we have over 100 companies that are going to be looking for everything from entry level to executive level, where there are career paths that can be established. I tell the story of, well, everyone knows Titus, who runs the Brennan's Kitchen. What a great story he has. A young lady who started as attending the rooms at the Montleon is now the rooms division manager at the Montleon. But she saw something she liked in the hospitality industry, and she put her mind and soul to it. And she has just worked her way to a point now she's working at an executive level. And I think that's something that we don't talk about that much. And I think New Orleans could be, if we're going to be the hospitality city that we are, we need to give people an opportunity to make their lives in hospitality and not just see it as a part-time job. And though they may need that part-time job and that's what they want to do, but we really have opportunities here to demonstrate how we are taking people in and caring for them and giving them opportunities to make a life in hospitality.
Well, I'll chime in with this whole gang here and say, I agree with so much of what you're saying, but I don't know why we can't lead in all that stuff. I think that New Orleans has led in the food industry for 300 years, and we damn well better not stop now. And that was a big part of us creating Gnocchi. And I say that with some caution, because there's other cities nipping at our heels now, and we better stay on it in a whole lot of different ways. But there have been some gifts in this pandemic, as you all have spoken about. I mean, in our company, if I never hear the word pivot again, I'll be just fine. But,
Same.
we pivoted a lot, and I'm proud of our team. And one of the things I think we're going to take away is this entrepreneurial spirit. I mean, I did not know that my fabulous restaurant manager, Kenny, could run the soundboard on our Zoom show that has music. I did not know that Dan, the wine guy, would be this amazing host on that show. I did not know that America wanted quail and turtle soup shipped all over the United States of America, but apparently they do. And we started shipping on something called Goldbelly. And that will continue for us as we go forward. And from the Zoom show, we've ended up in the virtual conference business. Now, if you'd have told me that, I'd have told you, oh, no, I don't know anything about that. We're not going to do that. We are doing that. I mean, companies come to us and we do these big Zoom shows, and it's fun. We make money. We're spreading New Orleans beyond. I think some of what you all were referring to, both Lauren and Leah, was doing things that can go beyond just the city and the four walls. So our Zoom show does that. Some Goldbelly does that. Now we did some product during the middle of all this. We do these cocktail mixers from a wonderful local company. I never thought I would do that. I was a complete snob. I thought it would be awful and would have no part of it, but she's amazing. Kristen at El Guapo. And then we did we did a bunch of things. So, but I want to also speak quickly to, it was also a time to stop and look at this. I love my city and I love my industry. I really do. But we needed to look at some things, and we needed to look hard, and we need to look at how we need to change things. And we had gotten on a path of this type a few years before this happened, but needed to keep really going forward. And this was a great opportunity to do it. And Mark, you referred to the career paths. And so we have a program called Pathways. But I think we were guilty of before. You might have worked with us, Gary, but in your case, it was apparently quite clear. But to some people, did they really know what they had to do to get ahead? Now we're being very intentional about making sure people know if you're a food runner, but you think you want to be a chef or a captain, you can absolutely do that. But here's what you have to do. And are we making sure you know that? Are we, pushing you in the direction of Gnocchi if you can get training there or whatnot? So I think that, tipping, all of it needs to be talked about. Frankly, I've never seen laws change this fast in my whole life. And in some ways, that's a good thing. And we need to change, tipping laws. They're stupid, they're wrong, and the businesses need to be able to do what they want with the tips. Managers should not get tips, but beyond that, we need to be able to share it with the whole house without there being horrible tax consequences to the business. That's just wrong. So all those things need to happen. But the minimum wage should have gone up a zillion years ago. We haven't paid anybody that wage in a long time unless it's your first day at work and we're making sure you're going to show up on time, But, so all those things need to, I think we've gotten the opportunity and done something I call been willing to go through the awkward moment. I mean, that works in management, it works in life. We've done that, we're doing it, and we got to keep doing it. We have more progress to make, but it's going to come from you young people, and I'm feeling good about that.
I feel like it's going to come from all of us, T. Like, you have such a wealth of experience, and people look to you to see what's next, and I feel like your vibrancy and your vitality, and like, I'm in awe always. And like, I'm like, yes, you pivoted. You pivoted so much as a 360. You did a full circle all the way around. But I think
it's the tab that keeps it
going.
And Lauren, to your point, I think too, we have to raise up on the pedestals those that are doing it the right way and who are really making the difference, and talk about those folks.
Yeah, well, also share practices, because I feel like it's this sort of like mystery of like, how did you do it? How, it's scary. Right. How do you pull tips, or how do you, and when we start talking about money, like, people get uncomfortable because the margins in a restaurants are so small. I know it's really, really hard, but we have to share those best practices, which is why I'll pitch my restaurant cohort again of restaurants who are going to be able to talk with each other and like what they're doing to make their spaces equitable. Mm-hmm. And so we can have those uncomfortable conversations like, well, I tried this didn't work. Like, the size and variety of restaurants we have, like, even within your restaurant group, right? There's like small picnics, to commanders. Like, that's a world of a difference, right? And so thinking about all the ways in which we can support people at every single level, so that, a dishwasher can buy a house, so that we can talk about what it looks like, so there are more Black executive chefs in the city. There are more Black owned businesses. Like, I'm over it. Like, we got to do better. We're so great. There's so much talent at our fingertip. Yeah. And we love to eat. We are not going to stop eating and drinking.
And I think the consumers
the
consumers will support those that are doing it the right way.
Yeah, totally.
Well, we've heard about. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, please.
Oh, and I think there's also with everything that has transpired in the last year, I think there's a lot of space for restaurants to step up and highlight mutual aid programs. I think our customers do want to contribute to the community. I think that if you give them an opportunity to contribute to mutual aid within the community via, like, if they buy, right now we've rolled out a program. If you buy a drink, like, we're doing matcha this month. And so it's all going to Veliano, the AAPI mutual aid fund. And I think there's a way for us to, like, really leverage everybody's desire to support community and put it right there for them, much like Nochi is doing with Nochi and Give Nola Day. What if that's an ongoing thing that happens all year round? That feels really exciting to me.
And also Noki is a part of the restaurant, the Equity at Work hospitality cohort.
I want to join that cohort. Like,
well, and there's a whole program that Noki's getting into now to get folks at certain levels. You might be a great cook or a great waiter, but you don't know a darn thing about management principles or business. So we're getting into a thing to help people move up that ladder quicker. That is something I was waiting for. Whole 10 years I've been working on this, so it's coming real soon. So, yeah.
Well, as a journalist, I've been taking notes on the side here, and I got about 6 story ideas to pursue. So I know what I have to do next, but I'm curious if there are things in our final minutes here that you would encourage people to focus on, that you want to focus on to get to the next step, or to really accomplish something in this next phase that the hospitality industry is living through. You mentioned a few already. I mean, the work that Minnow's doing with its cohort. We heard the fire about pay and money and tipping laws. Are there specific things that you think, yes, focus your attention on this? Let's focus our energy on that.
I think it's small. Sorry, Mark, go ahead.
I was going to say, all of us should maintain our social media networks and be as active as possible to tell these stories. And I know we all do on this call, but social media is making a major play right now. That's how we've been able to keep in touch with the millions of people who love New Orleans, who haven't now been able to travel here over this last 14, 15 months. So it's going to be important for us to keep the story alive, but also know this will take several more years for us to get back to where we would like to be, and even better. So everyone just needs to have some patience. We need to keep looking forward be optimistic, but just know this is not going to be flipping the light switch like we'd like it to be. It's just going to take some time for us to get this this train back on the track and get to a speed that we were all working on it together.
Well said. Any other final thoughts, folks?
Yeah, this group of people is amazing, and T, you know what I think about you all the time. I tell you all the time.
What?
That
Hey, Gary, in fact, you're on fire, man.
I feel that we should not detach ourselves, like after this call. It should, there's a lot of influence on this panel, and there's a lot of things that we can do together to, just like Lauren was saying, we have to and we should continue, because I'm bringing up people, all of you guys are bringing up people. And I started something. It's an acronym called REHAB. It's Restaurants, Entrepreneurs, Hospitalities, and Businesses. And I would like you guys to be a part of it, because just having the opportunity to work with people that understand the business. Sometimes the strong need help also. When people see that you're doing things and it's like, okay, well, they don't need help, but you never know what a person is in need of something, when people could look at you and say, okay, what they have their act together. But it's not always that. And what I'm saying too is, with this panel, I feel that this could be the start of something good, to say, okay, let's keep the relationships open. Let's not just have to get together with, on something like this here, but call each other, and and give, just like, when I go to Noki and I do the entrepreneur classes and things like that, is or me coming to somewhere else, and Mark, I work with you a lot, is just keeping those relationships and keeping everything open, and not just once upon a time, so and Leah, just, I'm liking what you're saying too. I would love to work with you more, to do some things. But what, on a panel, and when you're listening to things, I just don't want to listen at a panel and they're giving out information and don't follow up on, on what it is. I listen to a lot of panels, and I listen at a lot of podcasts and whatnot, but I just like for us to follow up on these conversations, and be true to our city, and be true to this panel.
Well, from the first introduction there in our video from Wendell Pierce to the T's comments about shipping gumbo across the country, we can tell that there's a lot of enduring interest in New Orleans and what we do, and what we do is hospitality. And everyone in this group, I know, is dedicated to making sure what we do is better.
I have to say this before we jump off, because I think there's really, thank you, Gary, for sharing that. I think it's really simple. Like, I love this idea of Black Food Fridays. Like, pick a Black business to support on a Friday. Make it, like, step outside of your comfort zone and supporting Black owned business. Literally just make it a part, integrate it in, and trying new places or trying new people. There's so many pop-ups. Minnow has resource lists of where you can find different chefs. We're always highlighting chefs. And then the second thing I would say is check on your people. Ask if it's helpful. Ask what is needed, rather than thinking that we know what someone needs. Ask, like, what is it that you need? How can I help you? And it can be really, really small, but when we stand for each other, we're so much better together to lift each other up. And that is every human in any lane that they're in. So that's what I would say.
Well said. If I might give you a little background on that commercial you saw. So it premiered yesterday. It's in Dallas, Austin, Houston, Little Rock, Memphis, Jackson, Birmingham, Mobile, Pensacola, and we'll start running in Baton Rouge beginning in June. All local production. Wendell Pierce, local. Philip Humans, the director, local. And Justin Williams, our photographer, local. Just a great group of people that came together. We shot that in the fall, and we've kept it in the can until we felt like it was time to send it out. And now it's out, hopefully working on our behalf. So we've got enough money to take us in the first flight through the end of June, and then we'll reassess and see where we are with funding, and then continue it for the rest of the summer into festival season. So I just wanted y'all to know what that background was for that.
It's a sexy video, Mark. I mean, like, I don't say that lightly. Like, Wendell, he's bringing it.
He enjoyed the shoot, I can tell you.
I'm like, yeah, all those things. Those sound great. I want to do all, yeah.
I think we're going to invite Erica back on here in just a moment. And while she gets on here, let me just remind everybody that it's a very important day. Everyone here took time out of their day. It's an especially important day for nonprofits around the community because it's Give NOLA Day. Minnow and Noki, two things that you can support right now that are helping in the work that we've been talking about for our past time here. So that's givenola.org, and you can look up both organizations and find a lot more. But people like you make it all worthwhile. I love seeing your faces, and I can't wait to the day when I'm around a table with you or leaning this elbow against a bar instead of my mantelpiece, and I can toast you all in person. And Erica, thank you very much for convening us and for making this happen. I'm leaving here thirsty for some coffee science, hungry for what's next to eat from Gary Netter, eager to get back to Commander's Palace, picnic in Sobo, say tea at one of those places. Mark, keep doing what you do to bring people to our city. We need you. And Lauren, this is your time. You couldn't be doing more important work than what you're doing right now. Thank you very much, everybody.
Absolutely. Thank you all so much for joining us today. I think it was a terrific conversation, and I agree with Chef Gary. We should all continue to stay connected and talk more about this as we continue to grow and bring the hospitality industry back in New Orleans. So thank you so much. Please find somebody to support today. It's Give NOLA Day. Some of our small nonprofits and our local nonprofits in the 13 parish region. Find somebody to support today if it's not Noki or Minnow, and we'll play that sexy New Orleans video one more time to take us out. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
We missed you. With all y'all in your homes, with your loved ones, we miss doing what we do best, taking care of friends, old and new. Can I get you something to drink? Imagine your first steps back. You'll want to hit the town. But before you go, let's find you the perfect room. But don't take long. We have places to go, things to eat. How about dinner under the chandeliers? Well, we can enjoy po' boys and beer on the bayou. No, that's not quite right. You want action. Mardi Gras Indians and second lines, albino alligators and Caribbean flamingos. What do you miss most?